Chiomah, and I'm so happy to be able to have some conversations with great women. We'll be calling it Conversations with Chiomah. And today we're going to have Lola Aneke. She's our guest today, and I'm so happy to have her. Hi Lola, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Great. So Lola is a mom of two. And like you know, I'm really all about parenting. How can we fulfill our life's ambitions, our goals, and also parent effectively? How can we do both? And Lola is into inclusive education. So I'm going to ask her about, tell us a bit more about herself and what she does. Lola, like they say in Nigeria, can we meet you?
Hi everyone, I'm Lola Aneke and I am a mother. Yeah, I'm a mother, I'm an educator. I am the founder of Comprehensive Autism and Related Disabilities Education and Training Academy. It's a mouthful, so we call it Cadet Academy. I also run a non-for-profit organization called the Dewdrops Community Center for Special Needs. So that's
it. So just going back before you started Cadet and all you did, what led you into inclusive education?
Naturally, I was just a passion, but then through the course of the time and as the years goes by, I realized you have passion, but more like I couldn't start injustice. So the first time I ever thought of inclusive education was when I used to volunteer in a school over a decade back, and I saw this child in class. You know that saying, a child was in school, but it wasn't in school. So he would sit all by himself, everything happening around him, and he couldn't be bothered. So I felt something was wrong and I needed to make it right. I just felt I needed to make it right, because again I said I felt, why would the parent pay school fees and then it's not partaking all that
the child isn't getting anything?
Absolutely nothing. So I said to myself, I need to find out what's going on. And then luckily for me, the proprietor of the school was a senior colleague and a friend. Is a senior colleague and a friend. And then I asked her what was going on, and she was like, that we spoken to the parent, and they were not having it. They wanted the boy to be in school from 8 o'clock, and then they pick him up by 1, and they said things like, oh, nothing wrong with my child, over my dead body, he'll be fine, and all of that. But I wasn't just satisfied with that answer. I knew he needed help. So I went on Google and started searching the symptoms I saw. I realized it was autism at that time. And I'm like, so what's going to happen to this boy in the next 5-10 years? Will he just always be seated by himself? Will he be educated? I know he's in school, but will he actually have access to the curriculum? Exactly. So I found several schools online where I could be trained, or whoever was interested in educating the children could be trained to work with them to provide educational services for them. Most of the schools I found were not for children who had neurodevelopmental disorders or delays. It was more of the physical impairment, like visual impairment and hearing impairment. And the school I found was in the US that could meet the needs of these children who had autism, ADHD, learning disability like dyslexia and all of that. And I just felt that for me to find schools like that for children with physical impairment, that means those set of students' needs were being met, and the ones without physical impairment were not being met. So I packed my bags and headed for the US so that I could get trained and did my graduate program, got my praxis certification, and then returned back home to help these children in Nigeria.
Fantastic. So it wasn't even your child that really inspired you, it was another child. Which just shows the selflessness that every child is really our child. That is the honest truth. Because every child, even if the child is not your child that you gave birth to or you adopted or whatever, the child could be your child's friend, your child's classmate, your child's neighbor. The child is in your community, and it behoves on us to help every child we come across, doesn't it?
One thing that came to mind when you were speaking was, each time we keep saying, oh, that child is really, those children on the street. What if we pick up one of those kids or do something like what I'm doing? You find that the world will be a better place, even for our own children that are trying to protect and say, I don't want them to infiltrate, I don't want them to copy some behavior. But the more we open up, it doesn't have to be your child. As long as you have your hands open to help any child, the world will be a better place, even for your own child.
Very true, very true. So now let's talk about your motherhood story. I've met your two amazing children. Tell us about your motherhood journey and how it has impacted you as an individual.
I really like that question, because even before I got married, I'd always wanted to be that hands-on mother, being involved in my children's life. And as God will have it, my husband had the same mindset because he's in the military and he's never around, and both of us could do 9 to 5. So we're very intentional about what we wanted the children
Awesome.
and how we wanted them to live and grow. Okay. And so again, I was, at that time, I was like, will I be able to do that thing of this is what I want, how do I execute it, and all of that. But then it took me a while to even have my first child, so I was more like preparing. So when my first child came, it was like, okay, so this is it. How do we go about it? One of the fears I had was I knew because of the work I do, I would be very. In fact, my child started going to work with me when she was barely 3 months.
Wow.
Yes, so I'll take her in a car seat and then I'll put her in the corner and I'll keep attending to my clients and all of that, and then I get her back. I thought at the point when she began to grow, she actually went into crash very early because, when they begin to talk and all of that, you want them not disturbing so much. And then at some point I thought, oh, maybe I would need help.
Okay.
But then I wasn't convinced about nannies. Not that people don't have good nannies. I just felt I didn't know what value they wouldn't understand the vision and the value I wanted to impact on my kids. So I was very paranoid. By the time I had the second child, I knew I needed help.
Yeah.
So what I did was I got the help, but then when it comes to my kids, my one-on-one personal thing with my kids, I do it myself.
Okay.
All those when you have to be the child, you're teaching them certain things. This is how you wash
So
your
you will
face
bathe
and
them
all of
yourself.
all of that. So I did all of that myself. So I think, for me, because I know what I wanted and how I wanted it, I knew how to delegate, and the ones that were meant to be mine, that were my own duty, I wouldn't trade it for anything else. And luckily for me, my mom too was very much available. So parenting has been interesting and learning on the job. And I just this morning I talked about being deliberate about having a good relationship with your children. Talking about things and being real about it.
Yes.
So it's easy for the kids to just ask me things like, "Oh, Mama, this might not be this may be rated." My daughter said to me, "What does it mean to fuck up?" I'm like, "Where did you get that word from?" And she's like, "Oh, I heard somebody say I fucked up." I said, "No, some people say, but it's not a nice word to say.
Yeah, you shouldn't say that.
Messed, It just means you messed up, or you didn't do things right, but you use the right
words.
words." I felt very happy for her to come to me. She's barely 7, going on 8, saying, "Mama, what does this mean?" So those are some of the things I'm looking at. I want them to come to me. So I needed to create that room of, look, it's okay to just speak with me as you want. Sometimes because I'm a Yoruba lady and I'm very big on respect, I'm like, did you just say that to me? But then I'm like, Lola, draw the line, relax. You need them to be real with you. So it's been a journey. It's been interesting. And I also say that teenage years, they grow so fast this year, and 8 year was almost being like a teenager.
Yes.
And sometimes those fears come, and for me, I just say part time, take it one day at a time, and then you're not doing badly, and God helping me, I know we'll get there. I will go beyond that, and everything will be fine. And then being able to have be deliberate about what you want, prioritizing. In fact, having your to-do list, like this is the stage now. What do I need to learn at this time? Who do I need to speak to? What books am I reading? What am I watching? To see if I'm making them. And then, you can't have it all together. We keep learning one day at a time. But those have been the ways I've been able to thrive parenting my kids.
Fantastic. I like what you said about you and your husband having discussions about what kind of parents did you want to be, how did you want to raise your children, and you also made mention of the support system. Perhaps a lot of moms these days and dads are paranoid because we see so many horrible videos of children being abused and all that, and we're like, okay, who will stay with these children? Especially for you that had to wait for a bit before the children came. But thank God Momsi was able to come and help out. Let's talk a bit about getting the right support system, because you said something that is really important. I remember I had this house help once who, by the time I spent a little time with her, I just had my youngest child, and I said, no, this girl cannot stay with my children. Her values were just, she wasn't in sync with what I wanted. I spent a few weeks with her. I was like, nah, this woman, this young lady, she was actually a mother. She had 2 children of her own, but she just did not have the same values I had. She did not understand what it meant to look out for children. I said, no, I have to get somebody else to stay in my home, someone who was more child oriented, who understood what I was trying to achieve with my children. What are the things that you think one has to look out for when you're trying to get the right support system? with your children, to help out with the children?
So for me, my story is almost like yours. I'm very deliberate. So when I speak to people, I'm reading between the line. So most times when I ask for help or nannies, I would question you, and one thing I always say to them: look, whatever you do, your words matters. The words you use in my home matter,
Yes.
because children pick. Then I can't say you can't lie, but you can't be deliberate about lying. We all, so at some point we say so, but
I
you're
don't tell
planning.
lies, I don't
You're
know about
planning. There are times that that was a mistake. But
Yes,
like,
yes.
don't be deliberate about
As in, don't
planning to
intentionally,
lie.
yes.
Exactly,
Yes, got you.
lie, because my kids will pick it. And then even what you wear, all those values. I read the Riot Act out. These are the things that are not acceptable. These are things that if you make mistake, I mean, say you're sorry and then move on. So I would give them that one of most times within a week. In fact, my mom thought I was crazy when I used to no, this person can't stay. And I'm so instinctive, like I can tell from day one, like I'm not seeing what I'm looking for, and I don't let it.
And you
No
don't waste
matter,
time.
I know most times in Abuja, actually in Nigeria, you have to pay agents and all those fees. I don't mind.
You'll pay again.
I'll pay again just to get the right person.
Right.
So, I have a friend who would say she's into all of that. She'd be like, I like what you want and don't compromise. This is your kid. She
Very
said,
important.
if you can be so careful about your jewelry, and why would you leave your child with just anybody?
Honestly.
So, and even with that, also, my kids are, we are like, for example, my youngest son, if probably maybe he's eating and I'm having the nanny supervise him, I say to the other sister, you can't leave your brother alone, you have to be there also
Stay and watch.
to be sure that it's fine, So that sense of responsibility from the older one also, and even beyond what you're looking for, your kids, you need to educate them too. So I said to my kids, you can't just call them by name. Miss this, Miss that.
Yes.
And these are the things not allowed. Miss A is not supposed to, touch you in certain places and all of that. So I educate my kids too. The other day my son came to the house and he came down like he was angry. And he said, so I told I think he was changing, he was trying to put on his pajamas. And then the nanny came like, Mama, you said nobody should walk in the moon, I'm naked. And Miss A just walked in. She was like, I'm sorry. Like, it came, he feel like, I did what I asked you to do. So I think it's both ways. Know what you want, and then keep your kids also watch out for that.
Yes,
And like
as
I
they grow
said,
up.
exactly, as they grow up, if they're able to. When my kids were younger, my mom was there, like, so I wouldn't even
Fantastic.
give,
Fantastic.
So, and then, you just want to be sure that you have it all. You can have it all together, but I like what you want. And go with
Highlight
it.
what you want to
Yeah,
have a
don't
plan.
compromise. Really, it
Don't
might look
have
like everything's gonna fall. You'll be fine. In fact, for me, even putting my kids in school, I was a bit paranoid. I was particular about what I wanted. Like I wanted children that will be cautious, disciplined. I'm not so particular about all A's, which I would like, but other factors, what are your strengths and all that. And that's what luckily for me, I went for a program for my child when she was in her first year. And then because of what I do too, I loved what the program was all about. And then more like I'm the one educating because I had to move them to my own
To
school.
your own school.
So it's working for me. It might not work for every other person like that, but you can figure it out somehow. Yes.
So being deliberate, So when you get your support system, sometimes we get desperate. You don't have a house help. Anybody, anything goes. No. These are your children, the precious
Yes,
jewels
absolutely.
that God has placed in your care. So you have to be intentional and deliberate about what vision you want and how you want them to be in your home. What role do you want them to play? Are they even good with children? Do they even like children? Some people don't like children naturally. If it's not their child, they can't cope. So look at the person, talk to them, tell them, educate them. And as your children grow, as they're able to understand, tell them 2 things to expect so they can say, Mommy, this happened, that happened, this should not happen. You really need to talk to them, be deliberate about how you want your support system to operate around you. They're helping you, but that help should be help that is valuable help. If not, it's not help anymore.
True,
It's something
true.
else. So going on, Lola, I want to talk about just in a few words, how has your faith helped you as a mother? You're busy. I see what you do. I see your children around you, and when I talk about work-life integration, I see that your children are very much integrated into your life. You've been able to balance it. But how has your faith helped you integrating your life as a as an inclusive educator, as a mother, and all the different spheres that you are able to juggle and hold as a woman? You're a wife as well, and also but I'll come to that later. Just answer this question first. How has your faith been able to help you?
You know, I say to people that, I say to a lot of people that I wonder how people who do not have faith in God operate. This is just that's my anchor. In all that, there are times I feel like you're not doing it right, and then I get this nudge, you're not doing badly, and then you know that encouragement of look, yes, except the Lord watches over a house. You know, the laborers. Well, and that's just for me, like, Father, I might not be doing all right, but this little that I've put into your hands, I just trust you that you'll be fine.
Beautiful,
You know, so for me, all that I, even with the kids under my care, I remember when we were going to get our approval from Ministry of Education, and I said, God, you know, for me it's not about, yes, we want to make profit beyond impact, but for me, I just want these kids to have the best. So the only answer I want from these people is a yes.
And the yes came.
And the yes came. In fact, you know how they have this advanced team that would come in and say, okay, how are you guys doing before the main team? The man says, you have it all together. Meanwhile, I had this enough. I don't even ask for them, I have all that, but that thing in my mind, like, Father, you know, it's not about it. I just want to make things work. So in your divine mercy and ways you do these things, then I just come in here and see that everything works. If they say no to me, these kids are going to suffer. You know, so that thing of, Lord, it's all about you. I don't want to fail you, but I'm a vessel in your hands. Just use me. And whenever I feel I'm not doing right, I fall back. God, I come again.
So in every area, just acknowledging Him, it's been everything.
That's it.
Christ is really the anchor. God really does help us.
Sure.
And you mentioned that your husband is a military man, and you know, for a lot of many parents who who have a spouse on a military base or who is in the military, it involves, you know, a lot of posting here and there, a lot of traveling. So even though they are not alone, sometimes they are alone. What words do you have for other mothers who are in this situation? The husband is there, they have the spouse, but because of work commitments, either posting, it could be a bank job, whatever it is, they're not always with you. They're away a lot. How are you able to cope, and what words do you have for others who are in the same situation like you?
I think I'll answer it this way. But be you single or married, first, you need to find yourself. For me, in fact, when I realized my husband is a military man, or was going to be or he's a military man, I don't know if he's a pastor or president, but he's a military man then, at that point when we're getting married. Because I'd always look, I see people, before I got married, I see older people, I say, oh, my husband didn't allow me to do this, my husband didn't allow me to do that. So for me, I'm like, oh, I'm a church girl. Nobody's going to stop me from going to church, right? And then I also said, oh, I knew I was born again, but I said, thank God it's going to be a way so I can have all my prayer time and all of that. But it wasn't the case when I now got into the marriage itself. Yes. You can never, ever, ever, because it's meant to be two, you know.
Yes.
But what helped me, and still helping me, is that I found myself, I've found my calling, who I am. So I get busy. Yes, you will miss the kids who ask questions and all that, but that what keeps me going is that I found myself, I'm happy with who I am. It can never be the same without your husband. And then for every time he's around, we make the best of it. We create memories that will linger on. But just finding yourself is what has worked for me.
So that's great. Finding yourself, whatever your situation is, whether you're single, whether you're married, whether your husband is in and out, find yourself and make the most of the moments when you're all together as a family. Make memories, build memories. I think that's really important. Lola, it's really been great talking to you. And before I let you go, because, you know, I don't want to, there's something that, you know, all you do for, you know, in inclusive education is something that really makes it really admirable. Not just for your children. No, it's not really about your children. It's about the children who have also become your children, you know, by all you do for them. Tell us about all the things you have planned that are coming up in the inclusive education sphere.
In the next, and I'm very excited about this, in the next August, precisely 18th, 19th, and 20th of August, we have what we call the Global Inclusive Education Virtual Summer Camp. And what we try to do with that camp is, it's virtual, like I said. We look at the challenges of practicing inclusive education. And we bring speakers from all around the world to come share their experience with parents, with teachers, with school owners on how to make their schools truly inclusive. For this year, we are looking at a situation where in Africa, we have lean resources to be able to provide, because inclusive education is quite expensive, whether we like it or not. We have to face the fact, and we don't have enough support from the government, because I mean several sectors and all that. there's a pause for education, but inclusive or special education is a bit, So what we try to do with that is to fill in that gap that the government is not able to fill, and empowering individual schools, parents on how to, particularly this year, I'm so excited about it because people are like, oh, we don't have the resources, we don't have what it takes to get trained and all that. How can we provide something indigenous to fit into our situation? So particularly this topic is about the practicality of we don't have it, but how do we make it work?
How do we make it work? How do we make the best of what we have?
Yes.
I know I said that was done, but no. One more thing. What word do you have for parents who are struggling? Maybe their child has autism, ADHD, it's just on the spectrum, and they don't know what to do. What words do you have, to help them?
Take a deep breath. It's not the end of the world, really. If you don't take that deep breath and again find yourself, then you know the next step to take. If you get all flustered, you're causing a mess for your child and for yourself. It's not the end of the world. It's not a death sentence. I've seen kids progress from severe cases to mild and moderate cases, but you have to first take a deep breath. You go through all the phases of anger, denial, shock and depression, all that. It's okay, feel it, but don't stay there for too long. Then get into the place of acceptance. Take care of yourself. Understand what is going on with your child. Read up, equip yourself with knowledge. And because you're going to be looking for help, I don't want to look for help in the wrong places. So first, equip yourself with the knowledge you need. Because there's several things. It has to do with a multidisciplinary team. Different teams work with, different people work with your child. So it's a team. So you don't want to just jump into the wrong person. Equip yourself with knowledge and then find the right people. And of course, reach out to me anytime. I'm more than happy to point you in the right direction.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lola. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for being a guest. Thank you for all you do for inclusive education. Thank you for being an amazing and awesome mom. It's not about perfection. Nobody is saying that you have to be the best, but doing the best that you can, having the best resources available, being open to growing. And God will help us all as we journey as parents and we fulfill our life's ambitions and goals. God will help us. Thank you and join us again. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. See you soon.